Hello everyone and welcome to Metagame Mastery, coming to you today with another day of Dominaria previews, and just like it seems like every day, we've got even more infinite combos to tell you about. I'd almost be tired of it if I didn't love winning so much. If you enjoy our content, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Big time! Go time! Let's go! First up, we have Demon Lord Belzenlock. He's 6 CMC, 4 colorless, black for a 6/6 legendary elder demon. He has flying, trample, and when he enters the battlefield, exile cards from the top of your library until you exile a non-land card, then put that card into your hand. If the card's converted mana cost is 4 or greater, repeat this process. He deals 1 damage to you for each card put into your hand this way. This guy is not going to do you all that good in like standard, for example. He in limited, he's awesome because he's a 6/6 flyer that replaces himself. Just there's no downside there. He's great in limited, easily first pickable. What this guy's really going to do though is get along with this girl real good. I mean, she saw Belzenlock and all she heard is, "What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me no more." Yeah, these two are going to get along just fine. Next up, we have Knight of Malice. It's 2 CMC, 1 colorless, and a black for a 2/2 human knight with first strike, hexproof from white, and he gets +1/+0 as long as any player controls a white permanent. So much value. This thing is going to be awesome in the Knight tribal strategy in limited. Very good card. And they are reprinting Icy Manipulator, classic card, 4 colorless mana, artifact, pay 1 and tap it to tap target artifact, creature, or land. Just great for taxing your opponent or acting as a pseudo removal spell. Very flexible. Probably not good enough to make an impact in standard or even draft. This is something you probably want to pass on. But in sealed, for your pre-release, keep an eye out for this card. This will do some good work for you. Here we have a preview card from Wedge at the Mana Source. So good to see him back. It's Chainer's Torment. It's 4 CMC, 3 colorless and a black for an enchantment saga. When you put the first 2 lore counters on it, it deals 2 damage to each opponent and you gain 2 life. And then when you put the last lore counter on it, create an XX black nightmare horror creature token where X is half your life total rounded up. It deals X damage to you. First and foremost, I was playing back when Torment was out. That was when I was first really getting into PTQs and going to the next level of my game. I was still in high school, and I thought Chainer was just so metal. Like, I thought he was cool. It's great to see them reference him here. Unfortunately, this card will not see play in standard or modern at all, and there are a variety of reasons, but the major one is Fatal Push. The token it creates is going to take half your life total, is always going to be 0 CMC. So even late game, Fatal Push will just instantly kill it, and you'll lose your half your life total for nothing. Nothing hurt. Fatal Push hurts bad enough as it is. You don't have to take my life with it. Here we have the art reveal for 4 Fairies Blade. It's 3 colorless mana for an artifact equipment. Equip costs 3. Equipped creature gets +3/+0 and has vigilance and trample. Whenever equipped creature dies, attach 4 Bear's Blade to target creature you control. So, in some ways, this is a fixed version of maybe Sword of Vengeance or Loxodon Warhammer, right? It feels very similar. Maybe not as powerful as them because vigilance just isn't as good as say, lifelink. But the cool thing is, if anything happens to that creature, you don't have to continuously pay the equip cost. If you could just immediately shift this to another creature you have on the board. So that's really good. This is going to do a lot of work for you, specifically in limited. There's a particular red legend that I'm going to point out later in the video that's going to love this card a whole lot. Here we have the full art reveal for Territorial Allosaurus. It's 4 CMC for a 5/5 dinosaur. Right there, it's a good card in limited. First pickable in draft. So much value, especially with Llanowar Elves in the format. Yeah, this is a good card. It also has a kicker cost, 2 colorless and a green. When it enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, it fights another target creature. Now, I don't foresee this seeing a whole lot of I don't foresee this seeing constructed play. Okay, not even in monsters decks. It is above curve. It's a great card, but it's just too vanilla in that regard. And it costs too much to pay the kicker. But in limited, in draft, this thing sweets. It's going to win you games. And here's a combo piece I got for you. It's Tashar, Ancestors Apostle. It's 4 CMC, 3 colorless, and a white for a 2/2 legendary bird cleric with flying. Whenever you cast a historic spell, you may return target creature card with converted mana cost 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. So bear with me. This one takes a little bit of setup, but it's actually really versatile and really awesome. See, first, you're going to need to have a Mirror Retriever in your graveyard in order to make this work, okay? And you're also going to want to have Kirkland Ironworks and literally any other artifact of 3 mana or less. This becomes an infinite mana, infinite enter the battlefield, infinite death, infinite casting combo. Yeah, okay, it's going to take a couple pieces to assemble. It's going to take some work to set it up, but there's so much versatility here that you can do with the infinite colorless mana. You could do with infinite enter the battlefield effects. You could do with infinite dice triggers and infinite casting for Storm. You're going to be able to come up with a bajillion different ways to win with this combo. It's very powerful, very cool. Jayas Inferno is X red for a legendary sorcery. It deals X damage to up to 3 targets. So a lot of people are looking at this for what it's going to do in limited because it is very good in limited. You can fireball not just your opponent, but 2 targets on the board or even 3 targets on the board. It's a lot of value there. But where this card really shines is it's a fireball designed specifically for Commander, where you're going to be sitting in pods of typically having 3 more opponents. So one card can fireball out all 3 of them. That's where this card really shines. Naban, Dean of Iteration, is 2 CMC, 1 colorless, and a red for a 2/1 legendary human wizard. If a wizard entering the battlefield under your control causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. So he's a half-cost Panharmonicon for Wizard Tribal. Sounds good. I wonder who we could pair this with. Did we just become best friends? Yeah. Sarah Angel is being reprinted once again in Dominaria. We all know what the card does. It's the absolute classic from when the game was first introduced. This was the bomb. And it's not going to make really an impact in Standard right now. Things have changed. But this is still very, very good in draft and limited. It's potentially first pickable. Play this card, you won't regret it. Also, how is this not considered a historic card? Huh? Wizards missed something there. This should be historic. Rhona, Disciple of Gix, is 3 CMC, 1 colorless, blue-black for a 2/2 legendary human artificer. When she enters the battlefield, you may exile target historic card from your graveyard. You may cast non-land cards exiled with Rhona. You can pay 4 colorless mana, tap her, and exile the top card of your library. So a lot of people are calling this the Dimir Eternal Witness. I'm not sure it's quite on that level, because if anything happens to your Rhona between you casting this and being able to cast whatever you exiled, that card stays exiled forever. So it's very fragile, it's very focused, but it is very interesting, and I think it's definitely exploitable with the right flicker effects. Once you've already been able to cast whatever you exiled from your graveyard. Tetiova Benthic Druid is 5 CMC, 3 colorless, green blue for a 3/3 legendary merfolk druid, and whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 1 life and draw a card. First of all, I love that they're continuing to make merfolk Simic. I think it's a great flavor win, and I love how it interacts with the existing archetypes they introduced in the previous block. That's just good card design. Will this fit in the merfolk decks? Probably not. It's doing something very different. It's a ramp payoff, but it's a good ramp payoff. I really like this card. There's a lot of value behind this. I think this will definitely see play. Valduk, Keeper of the Flame, is 3 CMC, 2 colorless and a red for a 3/2 legendary human shaman. At the beginning of combat on your turn, for each aura and enchantment attached to him, create a 3/1 red elemental creature token with trample and haste. Exile those tokens at the beginning of the next end step. So you don't even have to attack with this guy. All you have to do is have him equipped, and he generates board presence for you. That's really good. I like this guy just being able to create warm bodies. He's an army in a can. And red really historically synergizes very well with equipment. Boros does very well with equipment. But you know where I really like this guy more than anywhere? Omnath, Locus of Rage. Because of Omnath's last ability, whenever he or another elemental you control dies, it deals 3 damage to target creature or player. Now, technically, those elementals exile themselves, but if you have any kind of sack engine whatsoever, they become so much more valuable because they're just they're 3/1 attackers that are free lightning bolts every turn. I cannot understate how good that is. Cabal's Druidic Vow is X green for a legendary sorcery. Look at the top X cards of your library. You may put any number of non-land or legendary permanent cards with a converted mana cost X or less from among them onto the battlefield, and the rest into your graveyard. So this is Genesis Wave for Legendary Tribal. Really good in Super Friends decks. And wait, there's someone in particular who's really going to like this card. Oh yeah, Captain Sisa. What a flavor win. Not only does she already run a Legendary Tribal deck in EDH that's very, very good, but her activated ability can tutor this card up right into your hand whenever you're ready to cast it. That seems good. Song of Fairies is 2 CMC, 1 colorless and a green for an enchantment saga. When you put the first 2 lore counters on it, until your next turn, creatures you control gain tap, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. So right there, it's mana ramp and mana fixing. It's like Cryptolith right for 2 turns. And then when you put the last lore counter on it, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. These creatures gain vigilance, trample, and indestructible until end of turn. That seems very powerful. This might be my favorite saga. And just the other day, that reminded me, just the other day, someone was telling me how Paradox Engine isn't good in Standard. Well, if ever there was something to make it good, Yawgmoth's Vile Offering is 5 CMC, 4 colorless and a black for a legendary sorcery. Put up to 1 target creature or planeswalker card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. Destroy up to 1 target creature or planeswalker. Exile Yawgmoth's Vile Offering. So this card is tricky to set up. Legendary sorceries are going to be tricky in general. But I really, really, really like this for Commander. There's so much value in being able to not only to get recursion for whatever your strategy is, but on top of that, being able to destroy, get the removal in there, and being able to get recursion for planeswalkers as well. This is a very solid card in those strategies. So if you are looking to reanimate in your EDH deck, this is a good choice. Squee the Immortal is 3 CMC, 1 colorless, red for a legendary, 2/1 legendary goblin. You may cast Squee the Immortal from your graveyard or from exile. Infinite mana with Food Chain. There you have it. You can only use that mana to play creature spells, but I think you can find something good to do with that. 2-card infinite mana combo. Go nuts. Well, that's it for today. If you enjoy our content, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. This has been Metagame Mastery. Peace!